So I have been playing with the data and DataStudio, but I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
So let me, one of my first questions I have is this chart.
Okay.
So when I configure it, I start playing with the metrics.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the best option or what is for. So is this tell you something here? Or if I change the page view?
You tell me. What do you think?
I think that the last scenario was the best option. This is page views.
Yes.
And this is organic traffic.
What is it telling me? Nothing. Other than the page views, which it tells me, but if you look at two charts, the scale is off, right? I can't really figure out if new users are more or users are more in organic. So what's the story you are trying to tell me? First you have to think about, there are KPIs, right?
Right.
I want you to plot those KPIs. Forget about any charts at this point. Just those KPIs. So
okay.
the ones
Traffic,
you have defined those KPIs, right?
Right.
Where are those?
Here, I have it.
Yeah, so plot those ones. KPI number 1 is registration per visit. Where is that?
I didn't look at it, like the conversion rate for the registration. Let me check here.
See, that's how you do it. First, you need to make sure people can
This
focus.
is, who is your user?
No. So this is where you're going in analysis phase. Forget about that. What
Okay.
we want to focus is the KPIs. How's the business doing? Is the business performing as we expect it to perform? And after that, you will add more sheets for analysis and say, here's more detail. So first screen should always be my KPIs. How many registrations we have, how many registrations per user, and supporting metrics. So if you have 3 goals, think about creating 3 vertical bars here. And then put your KPIs there. So add a new page. Let's go ahead and add a new page. Okay. Now put number of registrations. So add a KPI. Go to add a chart up there.
Okay. Number of registrations.
No, forget this. Remove this. Completely remove this. We'll label them later or whatever. Add a chart and put that scorecard metric total. Up, 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 up.
Up.
Right
Scorecard.
there. Pick one. And now tell me, go here where it says new user metric. We need total registrations. Do you have that metric?
I have it like in goal conversions.
No. Yes, goal conversion, whatever you are, goals, whichever goal completion is, member registration. Pick the one that makes sense. Okay. That is the one we got. We got 20 registrations. What time frame is this? So put a date up on top.
Okay.
So we know what date it is, right? And now you need to select a predefined date range, which is last 28 days by default.
By default, I didn't know that.
Yes. So this is what, so this is, I think something is wrong here, but this is today's date. So go change this to whatever date you want. And I would say is just do the default, go change from fixed. Go back to the default date range.
The date range.
Yeah, click it and change this to go where it says fixed up here. You see fixed up, up.
Okay.
And change it to last 30 days or 38 days is fine. 30 days is fine. And you can include today if you want. Okay?
Okay.
Now that's your member registration complete. Now you also have, go back to your KPI. What's the
Registration growth.
Okay. So what does that growth mean? It's a month over month change. This is where you'll have to create a calculated field. So I'll let you figure out, or you can put a chart to show the growth, day by day chart. Just put a day by day chart. So get
okay.
the chart and then put this time series.
Time series.
Yep.
Okay, right.
Right. Yep. Put it right underneath it. Okay. There you have every day breakdown. That's showing you the growth, how it's happening.
Right.
So that's what you need to do. Go step by step, figure out what you need, and then come up with things other than just what the default metrics are. Maybe create new metrics to do calculations. I'll have to sit down to see how that's going to work, but that should give you an idea of what you need to do. That's how you'll create. Once you create that, then you can create other charts showing, okay, let me show you the audience breakdown. Let me show you the registration breakdown by country, by these things. Because now you're going into insights. The first step is to create your scorecard or your dashboard.
Okay. The first step is the KPIs reporting, and then the insights coming.
Yes. So first is the KPI reporting, so that if I'm looking at this business, I can go in there and every day take a look and say, how are we trending? Oh, why are we down on May 15th, for example, in this, right? May 16th. Why are we down to like 1? What happened? I mean, something might be wrong there. That's when I will say, no, that doesn't make sense, because in the back end, I'm seeing 50 and you're telling me we have 1, which is wrong. I can come up with those things. So first step is this. Then you create your analysis, which you can provide more detail. If I want to know, hey, yes, that's good. You got 20. Can you now tell me the country breakdown? So I can just see where those are. So you'll tell me, go to page number 4, or you'll rename them. You'll rename those pages. Move the page 5 to top, actually. So, and drag it from here and put it on page 1. Yeah, and call it and rename it to dashboard. Main dashboard or dashboard. So that is where I'll start. Then you can say, I'll give you country by country or breakdown of members. Then you can tell me country by country, the sources they're coming from, etc. About the users.
Right. This is the other. I thought it different.
Yeah. So that's how you think about it. First is, where is my starting point, and why do I need to go deeper? And what's the story that you're trying to tell?
Right. So I have other questions.
Yeah.
I was playing with the data. I was trying to analyze it.
Yeah.
And when I do this, so I was playing with the data and trying to analyze it. How do you say so? Like the value of the users?
Yeah.
But I don't understand, because we segment the data to understand it better.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gives me like if I delete all users, I only looking here with the segmentation. I understand that I am only looking data from people from 25 to 34 and gender male. But then it still gave me like goal completions. So it gave me, I see like discrepancies with the data. Like,
what do you mean by discrepancy here? Like, what are you expecting?
that
So you're looking
at
goal completions by age. So you got 16 in that age. And then you have 31 males. but they are not mutually, inclusive. So that means you're just looking at two separate segments. Overall mail, they are not part of that page.
That's was I wondering.
Yes.
Like why is giving more numbers if I
Yes.
was
So if you are to create mail age 25 to 34, then you'll have to create a new segment. So why don't you create a new segment and pick the gender?
Okay.
So add
Here. Like,
yeah, and then pick the gender male. Now apply, save.
oh, right.
Now you'll get the correct answer. So go ahead and save it, but you should rename your segment. Now go down.
That is the half.
No, hold on. That, yeah, so male is 31, total males are 31, but ages 25 to 34 is 15. So if you want only the males from 25 to 34, so go change that segment.
Right. And then
and make sure to name it so that it's very clear on what you are looking at. Yep.
okay. Here I was like playing. So to understand like the logic, when we accomplish these goals to find what is the user who more convert in the website, so we try to add more campaigns with those kind of characteristics. That's the main goal.
Say it again, sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, when I find these chances, like people with these ages have the more conversion in the website.
Yeah.
So I will try to attract more people like those characteristics.
Yeah.
So, but what happened with the other data or older data range with other users that still achieving?
Yeah, so you've tried to find out. There are few ways to look at it. One, we know the age range that we cater to because those are the ones who are converting. So if I'm paying for advertising, I want to make sure my advertising or my marketing budget is actually working, right? So I'm going to try to target this audience because I know I can make money from that. Now, if I really feel that I should also be targeting more than 34, let's say 35 to 45, whatever that age range is, they're not converting well, then I have to look at my site to see why they're not converting. Maybe there are not enough profiles in that range. Maybe it's not clear to them what to click next. So that's where I need to start focusing on if I want to include those. So there are two aspects to it. One, convert what I know what works. Let's focus on that. And second is which I know should be working, but it's not. What can I do for them? So that's how you'll approach. So different insights are coming, and based on those different insights, you're taking different actions.
Right. Okay. So I got other question here.
Yeah.
Another report. So my first job was a sport book betting site, and the owner asked me to track everything with Google Analytics. Can
you close this the download thing that you have on the screen on your browser?
Yeah. So I have something like this, but with the sport. But for me, that things have been studying that events only actions on the user on the website. But how can we take insights about this? Like, because
what can we learn from these?
That sport book. Yeah. What?
What can we learn from these, right? Events and yeah. So again, think about what we're trying to do here. If I'm trying to drive people pay for membership, and I'm seeing, let's step back and profile registration. I'm only getting 12 users who went through the profile registration, and I don't know what time frame it is. Let's say if it's last 28 days or last 7 days. I think you just
it's the same thing.
2 days or so, right?
Right.
So, is that enough for us to achieve our goals? If not, then that seems very low. What can we do? Because that's where you take action and say, why are people not creating their profiles? You can look at step one, are people starting the process even? So these events are just counters for you and not something that you report on as it is, but in the context of what we are trying to achieve.
Right.
So this is just a way of measuring things. How many we got for premium member, how many got buy now button clicks, etc. Because there is no other way to calculate them. There's no page view happening. It's an action. And that action has to be tied back to what we're trying to achieve. In this case, if we're trying to drive more registration, that we got 14. Is that enough? Put that in the context. How many users are we getting? We're getting 1,000 users, for example, and we are only getting 14 profile registration. That's very, very low. Is that an issue with the placement of button? You can come up with a hypothesis and saying button is not clear. The call to action on the home page is not clear. So yeah, this is just a counter that you can use for further analysis with the context of what you're trying to achieve. By itself, it's not providing me much information.
Oh, so which metric I can use to compare it? Like,
correct. If you just list a lot of these events and labels, it's not giving me anything.
Right.
Now I have to do calculation. If I'm your stakeholder, your executive that you are providing this to, you don't want me to think.
Right.
You want to provide those things. If I ask you and say, Roberta, now can you give me just an idea of where everybody is going, what buttons they're clicking, then you can open this. But that's not where you want me to focus on. I'll be lost, I'll be gone.
Right.
So think about these things. I think there is also a lot of cleaning here that needs to happen. I'm seeing event action is premium member, label. Label might be, what's the category here? Can you throw in category as well to see how you're categorizing?
Yeah.
So start from category. So, okay, registration process, and then you have a form submit, say profile. Are there more steps to registration? Yes. Can you sort them by? Can you sort them by registration, so by event category?
That's something I was asking. Other question I got, like, I want to know the flow of the user. They go to this website and where they go.
Yeah. So you have to think about that. If that, maybe that's where you start to label your category. You say 1, 2, 3. So first, let's sort them out. Go on your right-hand side where you have data sources. Go down.
Okay.
And right here, sort. Change that to event category. Up. First one, right there.
Okay.
Users, change it to event category.
Because
you can just click on that.
Dimension.
You can click on that.
Ah, right. I didn't know that.
Okay, and then put ascending, or this is fine. Either way is fine. So now you have, actually put descending. I want to go back to registration just to show you that. So here you can see, you have all the registration events. There are 2 events. Now your action is the same, but your label is different. What's the difference in these 2? So I would rather name them as step 1, step 2, something like that if you want to make it more easy for me to read.
Right.
So something to think when you are naming, how would you want to use this information? This is where I said, first think about, before you put anything else, first think about what we're trying to achieve, visualize how you want to do it, and then start putting the naming conventions. That's why you had those name things. But that's fine, we're learning, right? So you can go ahead and rename those things and clean those reports as we go. So think about what's a registration. Now there are form, submit, save profile. There are 2 buttons. One is taking you to result detail and one is registration. I don't think it's the result detail is part of registration. So maybe that was something wrong. You fixed it later.
Yes. And we need to check it out.
Yeah. So similarly, when the person is going through engagement, right? I would like to set a personal message. That's fine. Why are we seeing all these labels? Because in the label, you're putting actual profile name. number, sorry, go down, like number 19. Think about this. You should not be tracking each individual URL here.
Oh, right. This is a regex.
Correct. So either clean them, write a regex and remove all these IDs so that they all get combined together. So you'll see engagement. I would like to send a personal message, and here's what's happening. This is not clean, right?
Right.
It might be for your analysis, maybe you want that level of information, which is fine. But then when you're presenting this to a user, I'm going to be your stakeholder. I can't make sense of this.
Right.
You might create a view which will tell me like, hey, which profiles are people collecting, contacting? Then I can take a look because you have the IDs there. You can strip them out, create another dimension, put them there.
Right. I have like other questions about your course that that's you answered me. You answered me this one. That's okay. You answered me this one also. So something I have wondering a lot is how do I find patterns with the data? What with example you tell me in your Walmart.
Yeah.
And that has other questions. I read in Abhinav's book that they say that the report has a lifetime value of 3 months.
Correct. Yep.
And you was using data from 1 year later. So
yeah. So a few things. Website has a lifetime of 3 years, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever that is, right? You have a limited time to make some actions there, take some actions there. However, your data, your customer behavior, customer profile, customer preferences data can have a longer impact. So somebody who purchases, so if we are catering to 25 to 34 people are purchasing, that's the same sort of people who are purchasing for last 1 year, 2 years. I'm not saying they'll be clicking on this particular button or that button is the one that's being clicked. So you think about the data that has a longer shelf life. Purchase behaviors, those things might have a longer shelf life. Again, it also depends on the business. My blog has a news story every day or every month. However, when a B2B site might not change for next 3 years. Right. It might be slowly evolving. So you have to look at what's the validity of that data. And as an analyst, you should be aware of what's the validity and how I can use it.
Oh,
that makes sense?
Interesting. Yeah, it makes sense.
So every data you have to kind of think in those terms. Is it still relevant for the business? Can I use it?
Right. So you can share your last presentation, your PowerPoint.
Yeah. It's all up on the recorded session is on the site.
No, but like a PowerPoint because I was studying that like the framework.
Oh, you want the PowerPoint? Okay, I can upload the PowerPoint also. That's fine.
Yeah, thank you. So, and you say that we can use other data sources.
Yep.
From apart from DataStudio.
Yep.
I tried to achieve with other company that we did survey and tried to connect with the data that user was giving us in Google Analytics. Like, but so I don't know if you have other way how to do this because.
So here's what you do. Now, in this particular case, if you're looking at, we have people who are registering, right?
Right.
There's a lot of fields they fill in registration form. If I want to integrate that rather than collecting everything, if I'm not able to collect everything as I'm getting the data in Google Analytics, and there is lots sitting in my database, you can integrate that either by a flat file or directly connecting to the database in Google Data Studio, or you can also use custom dimensions in Google Analytics and put them in Google Analytics.
Interesting. I didn't
so
know
let's
that.
say if I have a member ID right here, if I have a member ID 123, You track it, you say, yes, member ID 123 became a premium member. They purchased something. What do we know about that member ID? I have in the database, I can tell you that member ID is a male or female, what's their age, what's their city, what's their country, and how many times they have logged in, etc. I have tons of information. I can pull that information, put it in Google Analytics as a custom dimension, and then I can tie and see, is there any pattern for people like that, people living in that city or people who have logged in more than X number of times, etc.
Okay.
So that's much advanced topic at this point. I would say is focus on these things. We can go to that later, but that's a possibility.
Okay, great. So you said in your last session that there is natural exit pages and in natural exit pages. So
Yep.
how can we see the difference? Because I try to achieve here like, okay, exit all the data of exit pages.
Yeah.
So this is bounce rate and exit percent of the pages, but how I can figure
Yeah.
out?
So I think you have to look at each and every page. You have to understand the site and look at, is that page really a page where people are finishing a particular task? So in this scenario, if I look at page number 1 page, then definitely that's a page I want people to go further inside. So I don't want people to leave from there. Now, if somebody goes and say message sent successfully, sure, that's a natural page. Somebody leaving from member register page should not be leaving. What can I do in that scenario? If there are lots, like 6% is not a whole lot, so I won't pay attention. I would sort them out by percent exit to see which are the pages where people are leaving the most from, and then start to analyze page by page. Is this a page where we want users to go further in, or we want users to leave, or users have accomplished a task and they're about to leave? So those are the kind of things. So if you sort them out, you'll get an idea. Then you look page by page. I have to drop off for another meeting, but we can continue tomorrow, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.